Hello, welcome back to another edition of the Simpsons Season Review. If you haven't seen any of our other videos, please feel free to check them out. In this video, we'll be reviewing Season 2, Episode 4, 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. Now, this was the first show produced for Season 2, but however, because of Bart's popularity, Bart Gets an F was shown beforehand. And it was released the 1st of November 1990. The episode also won an Environmental Media Award.
So we start the episode, Bart and Lisa are fishing. At the time we don't know it, but they're fishing next to the nuclear power plant. This leads to a reporter coming along and basically being nosy, asking what they're doing.
Bit of a creepy reporter though.
I know, back then it doesn't seem too bad, but obviously if you do it now, it's sort of like grown up, talking to kids, stranger danger and all that. But basically, he starts inquiring what are they using as bait. Bart's traditional, he's using worms. But Lisa decides she's going to use nothing, because obviously she's animal cruelty activist and all this, even though I don't think they've really put it in too much this early on, have they?
No, they didn't.
I think they were just hinting at it here. But yeah, while they're talking, Bart catches something. Basically, it turns out to be Blinky.
But apparently, this isn't the first appearance of Blinky the three-eyed fish. It was actually seen in Homer's Odyssey episode, but the writers loved his design and planned the whole episode around him.
Yeah, so basically, like you say, season before, so maybe people forgot about his uniqueness, shall we say.
Yeah.
So is that case of they do the slow reveal, 1 eye, 2 eye, 3 eyes, and that's when we find out that the nuclear power plant is next to it. So we then go into the whole, the nuclear power plant is poisoning the water, basically. Because they've only found one 3-eyed fish, suddenly it's polluting the place. So this then leads to nuclear inspectors coming round. This is when we find out how badly run the power plant is.
Well, Mr. Bird was unaware. He weren't not going to be warned, but
like,
the state of the power plant.
Yeah, firstly, the cooling towers, massive crack in the cooling towers, yet Mr. Bob, whoever it is, has decided to try and seal it up with a single piece of chewing gum.
And did you actually notice the green glowing rat scurrying across the floor?
I missed that one, but again, Lee continues.
You can miss things, yeah.
And then as they're walking through, they're using a plutonium rod as a paperweight.
Yeah.
Very, very safe.
Catches Homer asleep yet again.
Homer's asleep, but then tries to get out of it with, I'm just resting my eyes, and Mr. Burns tries to pass this off. It's like, oh yeah, but a well-rested employee is a vigilant employee and all this. But yeah, this then leads to a meeting in the office with the inspector, who then goes over the fact that there was 342 violations in the plant, and Mr. Burns then
tries to bribe
him by, look at this pile of money, we'll just leave the room.
Would you?
Take the money, but probably still fucking fine him anyway.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, this guy just can't be bought, and he's like, yeah, just bring it up to standard, otherwise we're going to shut you down. So yeah, this is just the first instance of the power plant being deemed to be unsafe, which they keep on going back to, because I think was the German episode later on in the series, and that again hit on it, but I think this is like the first time that you really hit on the fact that the power plant is just not being run properly. So yeah, this just, once Mr. Burns realises he can't bribe this inspector, and the fact it's going to cost him.
Yeah, but Homer's meant to be the safety inspector, so isn't that meant to be his job?
Yeah, which is fundamentally forgotten in this one.
I think it's forgotten in most of the episodes, to be honest.
Well, that's if he even turns up for his
exactly.
job anyway. But yeah, so with this, Mr. Burns ends up drinking well into the night, which again, he doesn't really drink that much anyway, really, does he?
No.
It's like, if he does, he doesn't really get drunk. But yeah, this leads to us find out that Homer's still at the power plant, still asleep, gets woken up by Mr. Burns, throwing bottles around. This is like 9:30 at night, so again, that just shows how much his family love him. The fact he hasn't even come home, or did he just assume he's at Moe's or something? But yeah, this leads to Homer then leaving for the night. He's rung Marge, like trying to make out that he's had a long hard day. He's been working hard. But yeah, bumps into Mr. Burns in the car park, who's in his car sobbing his heart out. I don't know why, because really, even with all the money it's going to cost, must be a drop in the ocean for him. But that just shows how the rich are. They don't like spending money.
No.
Or at least Mr. Burns doesn't. This then leads to a conversation between the two, and Homer, at the time he thinks he's put his foot in his mouth, but he actually gives Mr. Burns the idea of running for governor. So if he runs for governor, he can make up whatever rules he wants and basically save the plant from being shut down anyway. So this then just leads to Homer being sort of made his chief whip sort of thing. He's sort of then on Mr. Burns' side to try and get him into the whatchamacallit, into office. But this is where we then find out that Marge is basically supporting the other person in the election, Mary Bailey.
Yeah.
But it's not the case of because Homer's supporting Mr. Burns, she like drops the hint that she's always been a supporter of her. So we get this conflict between Homer and Marge yet again.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, a conflict. But yeah, with Mr. Burns then getting his own publicity team and everything, they decide they're going to make a video to try and dissuade the whole Blinky the three-eyed fish being caused by the power plant. Before he starts it, he doesn't realise that the cameras are recording, so he basically starts bad-mouthing the town, and then quickly switches on. Once he realises, he then switches tack, and then it's like, oh, hello, welcome and all this.
Yeah.
And then basically he tries to pawn off the fact that there could be three-eyed fish out there. Why has it got to do with the power plant? And then tries to say that if you found an elephant in the waters near it, that he'd probably get the blame for his long trunk.
Yeah.
It's like, yep.
You probably would blame him.
But yeah, even with that, he still seems to be leading the poll anyway. He's still... So yeah. But then, after this, his team are like, well, you're going to have dinner with the common man before the night before the election, because basically a good political scheme be shown meeting with the common man, then we'll show you as a common man, and then then it's like, well, who else is it really going to be as the most common man in Springfield? Homer.
Exactly.
Who else that's to really pick from? I mean, well, the convenience of Homer being there's not really anybody else you could choose, really.
No, he wouldn't choose Carl and Lenny, would he?
Well, true. But again, you don't even see them in this episode, I don't think.
No, you don't. You see Barney and Moe, yeah, you don't see them.
But yeah, Homer obviously agrees to this because, yeah, he's on Burns' side. Tells Marge that Mr. Burns is coming round. She's not happy because she's planned to go door to door with election campaign for Mary Bailey. But then Homer just pleads with her, and she finally basically decides, yeah, okay, then we'll have this meal. She's not happy about it. And then basically Burns turns up at the house after he's been jumped on by both Santa's little helper and Snowball.
Yeah.
Considering he doesn't lose his cool too much, and Homer tries to cover up by saying it's the neighbour's pets. It's like he's then ahead in the polls, so it's like this dinner's basically going to win him the election. But then after Lisa's been forced to ask questions at dinner, Homer's asked questions. Lisa's not feeling too good about the fact she's had to ask this question, because again she's been railroaded into it. She turns to Marge, and Marge is like, at this point, decided she knows how this meal is gonna end. She's gonna take control, and basically this leads to her presenting Mr. Burns with Blinky, basically.
Yeah.
Even though it seems a bit stupid, because Blinky does turn up in later episodes, I'm sure, after this. So it's sort of a continuity thing. You're eating Blinky, but really Blinky's still alive. But again,
Simpsons have done quite a lot of that, though.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like Mr. Burns is like, okay. He doesn't want to, but he's like, yeah, I better eat it just to prove that he's not being contaminated by my water.
Funny when he spits it out.
Yeah, basically, spits it out.
That's when he loses the election.
Yeah, basically goes into slow motion, and basically, the fish hits the floor, and basically before this happens, every single reporter's got the picture of it, and has just basically left the house, and that's it. Bit
of a funny way to lose an election, by spitting the fish out.
Just proves that basically what he was saying wasn't true. It's like if he was so adamant that the fish wasn't polluted by his own river, he would have eaten the fish.
Maybe he don't like fish.
But then again, exactly, it's like, but at the same point, they could probably say, oh, well, they're probably going to lead with, if you say you don't like fish, why did you not say that before you ate it, sort of thing.
Did he know he was getting it, though?
No, when he's presented with it.
Oh.
But again, he could have turned around and said, I don't like fish, but I thought I'd eat it anyway, just for the people.
Yeah.
But again, they don't really give him because he even says, "Oh, we can get back from this." And his campaign manager's fantastic campaign manager's like, "Nah, you beat."
I know, yeah. Well, keep on him on his side, don't you?
It's like, oh yeah, you were all for it when you were trying to find dirt on his opponent and all this, even though you couldn't really find anything. And when you were leading, but as soon as the tide turns, it's like, yeah, I'm out there. Bye. I'm not even going to bother. And this basically leads to Mr. Burns deciding he's going to basically try and destroy the Simpsons house, and even get Smithers to knock stuff over for him that he can't knock over. Marge is pleading with Homer, and Mr. Burns is just like, oh, just smash something, which Homer does anyway. It's like, oh yeah, pride in your house. Or,
I know, yeah.
But then it leads to like saying, well, what's it going to accomplish, breaking our stuff? And this leads to another funny line. Mr. Burns is like, yeah, she's right. Smithers, come on, let's go back to my house where we can destroy something tasteful.
Yeah.
Basically, this is the end of the episode. Just leads into the final shot. Homer, again, he's feeling despondent because Mr. Burns has told him all his dreams will go unfulfilled. And Marge just does what Marge does best. Just like explains how he's got such a loving family and all this sort of thing, and how when his dreams are sitting on the couch eating a bucket of chicken and all this sort of thing, then he can't really be a loser that much. And that's basically it for the episode. And considering they were against each other throughout the episode, they leave it on Marge and Homer being fine again. So it's like, okay.
It was a good episode, as in you see Mr. Burns in his true light, cutting shortcuts in his power plant. Like he's tight with his money, he don't want a part of his money. And it's manipulative, like in the election campaign. You start to see the real Mr. Burns come out. Yeah,
because again, up to this point, there haven't been many characters outside the main cast to get much of a limelight. Was this one the first one after Krusty to get a show to themselves? But again, at that point, obviously Mr. Burns will have grown in popularity because really the producers didn't really give main parts to side characters unless they were getting over with the audience. Like you say, we are seeing more of his penny pinching, bit more of an evil streak to him. But yeah, again, it might have been fun to see Mr. Burns have an episode or two as governor just to see what he would have actually done.
Yeah, it would have been.
But let's face it, what would he have really done? I mean, knowing the episode he said he'd lowered taxes, but knowing Mr. Burns, he'd have probably put them up and started charging more for his electricity anyway and his power.
Yeah.
So yeah, wouldn't have really whatchamacallit.
Homer and Marge having a divide in the election.
yeah, again, that just smacks of, we need to build some divide, because that seems to be the go-to for the Simpsons. We've always got to have Homer and Marge bicker or argue in at least one episode, so they can make up. Yeah, but you do that so many times, like we said in previous reviews, it gets to the point of like, well, really, this couple should have broken up a long time ago. There just seems to be too many instances of, they're having problems, or they're having major problems, yet they always seem to make up in the end.
We know what side Lisa was on. Lisa was on Marge's side, but what side was Bart? Bart was on the fence. Bart didn't have a side, I don't think, in the episode.
Not really. I mean, like you say, he was helping Homer, but I think Homer's got this way of always railroading Bart into doing stuff. But at the same point, Bart is a rebel, so you sort of see he might want to be on Burns' side. Or maybe he's just one of these who doesn't really care for politics anyway. I mean, come on, the kids anyway. You can understand Lisa a bit because she shows a bit of interest in that sort of thing. But Bart, has he really shown any interest in politics, really?
No, not really.
Of his own accord, anyway. Like we say, it's normally being railroaded into it by somebody else. So, yeah, Bart's a bit of a backseat passenger in this episode.
I'd say that.
He's just basically there to set up the actual storyline, but apart from that, he doesn't really have much more to do with it, apart from being part of the storyline as a whole for other characters' arcs.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maggie didn't have anything in much in the
I don't even
episode.
remember seeing Maggie in the episode.
Yeah, apparently, she actually fell twice in the episode. If you look closely, she's fallen twice in the episode.
But again, that seems to be her trait anyway, falling twice. But yeah, that's Maggie's thing, full stop. It's either sucking at the pacifier or falling over. So all she seems to give to most episodes. But yeah, obviously with the divided opinions on Homer and Marge, on who they're supporting, you get the fact that they have their own placards on the front lawn sort of thing. Again, this just adds to the fact that Bart is on Homer's side of the fence for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Lisa, just because Lisa's goody two shoes, and you don't want Mr. Burns running for Congress anyway.
Don't know if you realised, in the episode, it was 3:00 in the afternoon when Homer, he was late for work. The kids were having the breakfast at 3:00 in the afternoon, but when he goes to the actual power plant, I think it says 3:05 when Mr. Burns is doing the speech.
Right, he does arrive at work at 3.
Arrives at work at 3, but then the speech is at like...
yeah, it would be a couple of minutes later.
Yeah.
But yeah, again with that one, Homer just turns up and starts whinging about the donuts, plain donuts. Even though he does then respond with the fact that I should start turning up early for work. But again, like you say, 3:00 in the afternoon.
What are the kids doing, eating breakfast at 3:00 in the afternoon? It's another Simpsons.
It'll be another one of those continuity errors. Again, probably didn't realise that the clck was that late. They probably were intending it to be breakfast time. But then again, with the clock being 3:00 at the power plant as well.
And Homer late for work.
Yeah.
At least he turned up though.
Yeah, even if all he did was sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also get Bart going through his scrapbook during this episode, harking back to the Telltale Head from the first series. You see a clipping of a newspaper article titled Vandal. Basically, this is just a clipping of the Jebediah Springfield incident that he was involved with. So side note with that one.
Yeah. First appearances in the episode.
First appearances. Obviously, Mr. Burns' political opponent in this one, Mary Bailey. But really, I think
She's only
background character.
character.
If she was front and centre or mentioned in other episodes, it's just a passing reference.
Yeah, it is. Really yeah. I can't either.
Also, they reported a Springfield shopper reporter his first appearance. Again, I think he's
another background character.
Yeah. And Dave Shussen's also in this one. But yeah, I think with those ones...
They are background, not main characters, just background. but it's their first appearance
Yeah.
as a background character.
So yeah, but with main characters, no main appearances basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, clock on the background was 3:05 when the inspectors turned up.
That's
yeah, and then there's also another continuity error with the clock hand. When Mr. Burns is drinking, it seems to be fast by about 15 minutes.
That's another Simpsons.
And again, that just adds to the continuity.
Yeah, it happens
errors.
in the Simpsons episodes. You make mistakes and then you think, oh, we'll just leave it in. But let's see if people spot it, which you obviously do spot it, like. General thoughts about the episode? Positives?
Positives. Storyline being mainly about a supporting character in Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing too heavily on the Simpsons. Obviously, we're in the second series now, so we've had a background on the majority of the Simpsons. So
do
nice
like it,
to flesh out the characters.
I do like it focusing on Mr. Burns. You see more, like I said before, you see more of the Mr. Burns character. That's a positive. Another positive. You sort of see Lisa's side now. Starting to see Lisa a bit more. That's his environmental.
The first seeds are there.
Yeah.
Basically, like we say, the animal activists, the being on the side of good and all that sort of thing. So her character being more fleshed out there.
Any negatives?
Negatives, again, as I touched on, yet another episode that seems to have a Homer and Marge bickeringness to it. Although it can still be seen as a positive, the fact that it wasn't a full-on one like they've had in some episodes where it looks like they're on the verge of breaking up.
Yeah.
But that's another positive for that one. Marge's way of getting her own back at Homer for inviting Mr. Burns round without actually causing just dropping it on him at the last minute sort of thing. Other negatives?
The way Homer arrives late for work and the kids are like eating the breakfast at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he tried to think that he made that mistake, but then think they'll forget it. But
again, with Mr. Burns, even though the inspector's there afterwards, he could really have mentioned the fact of why were you sleeping on the job sort of thing.
Exactly.
He doesn't seem to care. Well, to be fair, that just leads into the fact of how bad the power plant is. He's not bothered that his safety inspector's asleep on the job.
No.
And yeah, it is just a case of how can the power plant still stay open for so long, considering it's so poorly run, basically.
Yeah, defo.
But yeah, I think did we see the first signs of Smithers as a bit of what's it called? Mr. Burns asked him to hold him before the inspectors get there.
Yeah, I think you started to see more of Mr. Smithers. Yeah, like that with Mr. Burns. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other positives or negatives?
I think that's it really, to be honest. Main objective of the episode, do you reckon there was an objective?
Maybe to highlight a bit of polluting the water sort of thing. Again, it's I don't really know what what if anything else apart from pollution was the main background to it. Because again, it was one of those. There is episodes where they do the setup, but the setup takes too long to basically get the main story. At least they flowed into the story within the first 5 to 10 minutes. So again, that's another positive for it. But yeah, with objectives, I don't know, apart from pollution of water, maybe trying to highlight how easy it is for someone to run for power if they've got money. Yeah,
and trying to find dirt on the opponent. Maybe that's what they're trying to get at as well. It does happen in elections.
Yeah, and just the fact that is it really believable that you'd have a politician who doesn't have something in the background, a squeaky clean politician?
Yeah, exactly.
Seems a bit far, but again, back in the 90s, there may have been. or maybe the creators are trying to have a bit of fun their own.
Probably a bit of fun.
We found the only politician who isn't corrupt in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else for this one.
Yeah, I think that's it, to be honest, about the episode. It was a very good episode. It's not been the best so far, but it was very good. Had its bad points, had its good points. If we've missed anything of the episode which you think is good or bad, please comment down below.
Like, share, subscribe.
And we'll see you in the next video.